Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. For those of you who are on the replay, I'll say good afternoon to you first. Okay, here we go. Let's start rolling in. Good afternoon, everyone. Tina Laws here, your relationship rescue consultant. So what I've decided to do, started last week, was to start a series talking about the balanced woman and what that really looks like. So today is my second week, and today we'll be talking about finding your balance. And how do you really find your balance? So I'm just going to wait a few more minutes. I'll respectfully wait for a few more people so that we could talk about, oh my goodness, Streak of Spion. I got to get there, Streak of Spion Studio. I need to get there. Hi, Fly. I'm Preemie Blast. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. What I find with working with females in leadership and men as well is part of the challenge that many of us have is finding that balance. And what does balance really look like? You know, many people say, well, oh my goodness, I can't find 50-50 for 50 for my personal life and 50 for, and many times it's nothing to do with finding a 50-50 balance. Is making sure that you're prioritizing those things that are most important to you, right? And I know for many of us women is, hi mom. And I know for many of us women, finding a balance is usually something we think about on the outside of our personal lives, on the outside of our homes, right? And so hi essential oils. Hi. What we usually find is that we spend more time focusing on the balance in our career. Oh my goodness, Tina, if I could just get 5 more minutes with my husband or my significant other or my family, but I must do A, B, C, and D in my career in order to do that. And one of the things that I do as their coach is guide them toward what's most important to them. And so today I want to talk about that balance between your career and your personal life, as well as the balance for some people as it relates to emotional and mental health. You know, what is that balance? You know, we find so many of us in leadership roles find ourselves in a therapist's office sitting on a couch because we can't find that balance, and we're finding that it's impacting us emotionally and mentally. Thus, we cannot give what we don't have. Right? And so today I just want to share a few things and just have a conversation around what that looks like. And the fact is, this is not just about me talking about all of the many clients that I work with. It's also hearing from you how you might experience it, how it may impact you, and maybe some of the things that you have or are doing that is currently working for you. Because remember, most people come back on the replay, or some people just scout your page, and we can help them anyway, right? So today I just want to be that space, and every Monday at 12:15 I want to be that space for the balanced woman. And while I do have men, many men that I work with and coach, I do know that many of them are married and or in relationships, engaged, seeking to be married, looking for support for their wife, right? And so that's what this space is about. So today I just want to share with you a few things that I know have helped many of my clients, and that is finding a balance in your life. So I asked you the question, what is most important to you? And before you answer that, yes, I truly understand you have a career. I truly understand that you have mortgage, rent, bills, children, finances that need to be paid. I understand that 1000% because I too experienced that. But what is most important to you? You know, one of the things I often say, start with when you wake up every morning. For those of you who may be married or in a relationship, when you wake up every morning, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Who is the first person that comes to mind? What is the first thing you do? And who do you do it with? It may be making that telephone call. It may be sitting off having coffee with your significant other. It may just be a mother or father, an aging parent, a retired parent. It could be a sickly parent, a sickly sibling, family, friend. You know, what is most important to you before you leave that home? That's what I want to ask you. So hopefully I've hit a nerve in raising awareness as to what's most important to us. while that job or that career pays our bills and provides those vacations and or clothing, shoes, whatever it is that just desires you have, those delicacies that we enjoy outside of everything. That family, friend, significant other, hobby is very important to you. And because many of us don't know how to balance it, it's also strained relationships, right? Where we can't find that time, where we don't have the opportunity to, spend the quality time or do the things in which we want to do. And so that's one of the things I want you to think about. The second thing is, while your career is very important and very much of who you've become, right? What are some of the things that you've put in place? 2, have some boundaries. 2, have balance, right? So I want you to think of that. From my first live, I didn't expect to get any response because, nobody really knew, and I just dropped it before I went on. I had several people doing the homework. Well, how do you prioritize? And so those are the questions that I asked last week, Monday. And so those are the questions I'm still going to ask you. What is important to you? What do you prioritize? How do you prioritize it? So let me just start by giving you a few tips as to, because this is never meant to be a long, drug-out conversation. I get bored really quick, and so I'm assuming you would too. But what I want to do is just share a few tips with you and what I use as it relates to a relationship coach, as well as an accredited mediator, right? These things, and people don't realize how important it is to have certain skill sets, right? So as a conflict resolution specialist and a relationship and intimacy consultant, I have the opportunity and privilege to be around a lot of tables and in a lot of homes, right? And so I don't just come to you saying, Tina, from a book or my experience only. I come to you from years of experience of hardships and this successes from clients, from current and past clients alike. And so today, what I want to have you to think about is the one thing that needs to take place when you are challenged with all of these things, and that is finding your balance. Let's start with your boundaries. What boundaries do you have in place? Well, everybody's on the internet and doing the things in which to find, how can I find my boundaries? What do they look like? One of the things I'm going to leave you with today is when you set those realistic boundaries, I want you to also find yourself an accountability partner. Yeah? I need you to find somebody, not someone who's challenged like you, someone who might be a little bit more settled. It could be a mom, a dad, a sibling, a good friend, a cousin, a church family member, whomever, a neighbor. Somebody that seems to be much more relaxed in life. It could be someone older. It doesn't matter. I need you to find yourself an accountability partner so that when you start falling off track, they can reel you back in. So for instance, if you say you're going to knock off, you're going to make 8 o'clock mornings and knock off 4 or 5 on the nurse, or 6 or 7, I want you to find that person. I want that person to check up on you to see. I also want you, if you're married or in a committed relationship, I want you to give that partner that opportunity as well to hold you accountable. Now, this is not an arguing match. It's not I'm doing what I like. I work, I make nobody's interested in that. What we're interested in doing is helping you to find a balance. So that partner, that significant other, that husband or wife who is in a position to hold you accountable, call you up and say, babe, you say you was knocking off 6, so you should have been here at 7. What's happening? Okay. So that accountability partner, right? Secondly, that digital disconnect. Now, I'm telling you this because I also am challenged in this area, right? Someone that helps to remind you, or even just keeping mindful that it's time to disconnect from social media, emails, WhatsApp messages, anything that takes you away from either your significant other, family, or that one-on-one you time, right? So the digital disconnect. And unless it's urgent, of course. But for the most part, you need someone to hold you accountable for that. if not yourself, right? Because think about it, if you was doing your job, if you was really doing all of these things and doing them extremely well, okay, we won't have that challenge, right? The other thing is prioritize and delegate. Oftentimes, if you're anything like me, it's easy to say, I need somebody to do A, B, C, and D. But it's also easy for me and many of you to pick it up after giving it to somebody or asking somebody for support. It's so easy for us to turn around and get it done when we want to get it done. It might be a thought that comes to mind 2, 3 in the morning, and we're like, I just asked somebody to do for me, have it ready by tomorrow. But you know what? I'm at 1 o'clock. Let me jump up and do it now. That's got to stop. That's something that was hard for me to do. And every now and again, I might jump up somehow in the morning. You got to go to the bathroom, or you might just have a cough or dream, right? And you jot something down. Okay, I'm not going to beat you up because this is real, right? And so we know it. We do it. But give that person, when you prioritize or delegate, give that person that thing, you let them do it. Not only does it save you, but it also gives that person opportunity to grow, right? And to know that you trust them to do it. Yes, it's hard, but this is real talk, right? The other thing is, regularly assess your personal and professional lives, right? So whether it be something you plan to do personally or career-wise or both at the same time. I did a workshop recently, and one of the things I mentioned was, how do you manage if you have to take a loved one to a doctor's appointment and you have a really, really important meeting that you must sit in? Many people say it, believe it or not, many say it, I'll have to reschedule that doctor's appointment. Well, I say it, and what I've done, what's most important to you? Because we can always have that meeting. And the importance of delegating, the importance of trusting your team, is always have somebody right next to you, so that if something like this comes up, something extremely important to your personal, to your core, you can let them sit in place and take that meeting, and you can do your doctor's appointment at the same time. Okay, so while many people will say, I'm going to have to reschedule, you might not have the opportunity to reschedule a doctor's appointment. That loved one or family member or friend or whomever you support might not have that second chance for that doctor's appointment. But be sure this business meeting will be sure to go on. And for people like me, entrepreneurs, right? I'm finding and I've learned that when you're honest, people get it. So when they know something's really, really, really important to you, they would oblige. So try it. Right? So that's prioritizing and that share responsibilities. And this is more so in our family life, right? With your husband, wife, or significant other, or children, or parents, whomever it is. Don't be afraid to say, listen, I know I can do this, but I need you to do it. And I don't mean asking and then turning around because they don't do it in 5 minutes for you to pick it up and do it, because you often say, look, I will do it. Because every time I ask you to do something, it doesn't get done. I hear that quite often. Because when I ask my clients, I say, well, why did you pick that back up? Because they took too long. I wanted it done right away. Well, you know what the reality is? You're not thinking of yourself. They take a day or 2 or even a week to do it. Yes, you'll cringe. Yes, it will make you uncomfortable. Yes, it will get on your last nerve. But don't put that extra back on your plate. Balance and share those responsibilities, even as it relates to cooking, cleaning, children, washing, grocery shopping, laundromat. I hate grocery shopping. I hate wintertime when we take our big bulks to the laundromat. I hate it, big blankets and so forth. I hate it. Now, I might throw something in the wash and dryer, drop of a dime, no problem, fill and pack away. But some things we know we don't like to do. Don't be afraid, because people say that's something a woman should do. I remember, this is a sidebar, I remember when I first got married many years ago, and my mother-in-law came or called. It was something like that. I think she came by, and 2 things. One, she called, and my husband was washing my daughter's hair. And she said, shouldn't Tina be doing that? Because she's middle school, right? And I always said, I'm a 2000 wife, thank you. And another time she was at the house, and I think it was 6:05. We had just got home, we brought her down. And she said, shouldn't you be eating by now? Shouldn't you have cooked by now? And I'm like, wow. And that's a reality for many people's homes, but for many of us, it's not. So you have to do what works for you. If it's easier for me to stop and pick up something and go home and eat, that's what we'll do. Is it easy for me sometimes to say, listen, we're gonna go out, meet me here, or take a takeout? That's what you do. You have to do what helps to save time. Yes, we can all go home and stand around the stove to prove a point to somebody, and your feet swell up, you're tired, you got a headache, your food tastes horrible because you're so tired and irritated. You can eat 9 o'clock. Oh, that's fine. You want to do it, do it. But it's also not a good use of your time. Okay, so think about that. Sometimes you have to be able to share responsibilities, but also not afraid to do those things in which the old school or other people might do, right? So, and the other thing is I've written everything down so that I don't get off track. Create a structured routine. And what I mean by that is daily. You know, you should have a routine of what you do daily. Some people I know go way out to next year with the schedule. I mean, that's great, right? But many of us don't, right? Some of us have to say day by day because anything could pop up at the last minute. Anything could pop up. For instance, I can hang up from her and somebody call me and say, Tina, we have an emergency in our organization. Can you save this person's job? And guess what will happen? I'll come over her, get myself ready, and I'll get in. So things do change at the drop of a dime. It could be a situation as domestic violence awareness month as well, but I still have many private clients. People still call me, right? It could be an urgent situation like that, and I have to jump on the phone and say, oh, I have to show up. Some things happen. However, it's so important to have dedicated time, a daily schedule. That way you can have a projection of this is what I aim to do. And if an emergency or somebody gets sick and you have to go hospital, if an emergency comes up, you have a space for that, right? And those spaces, you don't ask for them. They just happen. Okay, so at least you can have a schedule. Okay, this is what I want to do. The other thing is have those time blocks in your calendar. Sometimes I don't even get to them to do what I have to do sometimes because things happen. But the reality is at least you have that visual and to have set your alarm. Okay, so you know, like I know started last week, this week, and every Monday moving forward until I'm going to have to finish my clients, which I did at 11:15, right? So that I can mentally prepare, get myself something hot, right? And be ready to come on at 12:15. You see what I mean? And so we have to block out those times in our calendar because they are very, very important to us. Have an alarm set. Those alarms sometimes get on our last nerve, but the reality is we continuously are prompted to, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. So we have to do it. Okay. So stick to that. The other thing is today is open communication. Nobody can help you if you don't communicate your needs. Let me say that again. You aren't in a position to be helped if you do not communicate your needs. If you're anything like me, it might be difficult because you want things done the way in which you want them done. So you figure to yourself, don't make no sense asking, right? Because it's not going to be done how I want. But then we sit there and say, oh my God, I just need somebody to take this off my lap or off my desk or off my plate. So we must have those people which we can communicate. And what's most important is your love, your husband, your significant other. If you have children at home, if you have parents, aging parents at home, if siblings, anything, people of importance, good friends. Communicate, and be honest with yourself. You know what? I can't do it, or I'm struggling to get this done. It could be on your job. I am struggling to get this done. But because I'm in this role, the expectation is that I don't have a flaw. The expectation is that if I'm a leader, I need to represent leadership. So the heck with how I feel. Let me just put this big representation of I'm a leader. I'm going to get this done. I will never prove to people that I have fallen short or I feel weak or I just don't know. Well, you keep that up, you're going to end up in a therapist's office, if not the hospital or home for 2 weeks, trying to relieve some of those stressors that you endured as a result of thinking you have to do it all yourself. You do not have to do it all yourself. And I often say God always gives you people. I find he puts people in place, right? And so we may not speak it to everybody else, but when we're talking to him or just, or whoever your higher being is, you know that it's already on its way. It's already there. We just have to now walk into it. So trust it. Let go of feeling like you have to have all the answers, or you show up in these spaces and you have to have it all. We don't. I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I sit with my clients and I'm looking and saying, my goodness, I'm crying on the inside. Either I've experienced it, or I know someone who is, or I'm just heartbroken for some of these clients going through these situations. But you know what? I'm not afraid sometimes to tell them, oh my goodness, my heart aches for you. But we will make it happen. We will make it work. Right? You go into these organizations, and I'm doing a lot of conflict resolution. Initially when I was called that person, they usually call me in when it's like dire need, when they've had one or two coaches in. And that's another thing. I'll leave that alone. That's for another time. When they call other people in, coaches in, to coach people through conflict. I'm a conflict resolution specialist, trained, right? It's tiring sometimes. It's difficult sometimes to undo what has already been done. But more so, I remember I used to be offended when they used to say, Tina, we're calling you again because you have to come and you have to fix it. I'm like, oh, I'm the afterthought. You should have called me first. But I say all that to say, sometimes when I go into those environments, because what's been made already to look like this is going to work and it doesn't work, and somebody's risking losing their job, or somebody's being abused on their job, because a lot of you don't realize what you're doing, I'm now got to fix it. And sometimes it's a lot of team members that are so crushed by a specific person, and it's not always leaders. So I'm human too. I have to sit sometimes and take a back seat and say, is this really happening? But I also had that person or those persons that I could relieve my information on, or my stresses on. No, not names and clients and what happened and who it happened with and what organized. Absolutely not. But this is what I'm challenged with. And so today I just wanted to come on and share a few things with you as it relates to finding your balance. And the one thing I'm going to leave you with is this. It should never be, I have to do one or the other. It should always be, how am I going to find that time to manage my personal life and my career? And while we know your career is very important as it relates to functioning and managing a lot of your personal life and finances, many of you are losing your relationships. Many of you are losing loved ones and no time with those loved ones. Many of you are losing yourselves because you don't know how to balance. So today I'm going to leave you with, what is most important to you? What is most important to you in your personal life? We already know what the career does. We already know you want to get promoted. We already know you want to move up. We already know you want to apply for that next job because you don't like the job you're in. We already know you want to make more money. We already know what you want to negotiate. I do all that with people. Yeah, we got that. But what's important to you? Honestly, what's important to you? That's what I want you to think about. And you can always DM me. And remember, everything that we talk about on here, unless you put it in comments for everybody to see, which I'll like that as well. Please be transparent, because I'm going to be as transparent as possible. My clients know me to be very transparent, so I'm not going to change on here, right? But please DM me. You can send me an email at tina@tinalawsconsulting.com and ask me a certain situation that's taking place, and I'll surely come on live and talk about it. Or if you prefer, I could just respond to you via email. This space is new, but this space is going to be a space that brings us women together. And what better person than, and many of us, what better person, Tina Laws, to do it than someone who deals with this on a daily basis and has been doing it for many, many years. And I guess a lot of why I haven't done it yet is because I don't really like the camera. Believe it or not, guys. I don't. And I don't like sharing a whole lot with everybody. But why not? Who can I save? Who can I help? Right? Who can I save from going to doctor's offices like I used to when I was an executive director? Getting prescription after prescription, vertigo after vertigo, insomnia, horrible sleeping habits, horrible eating habits. You even change. You become somebody else. You look in the mirror and say, who is this? If I can help you to save that, and more so what was most important, my marriage. If I can have you save your marriage, family, friends, and your health, mental health, physical health, and your working environment, if I can help you to do that, why can't I come on here every Monday at 12:15? So that's what I've committed to, and that's what I would do. So thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And as well as thank you for joining on the replay. I'm going to bring you some good up close and personal nuggets. And the one thing about me is that I've never been led by people promoting or pushing me to do things. I just do them. As you can tell, I'm on here doing this, right? But what I will ask is that you just share the Balanced Woman every Monday at 12:15 at Tina T. Laws. And my daughter said to me earlier, Mom, are you going to live Facebook, or maybe you should go live TikTok? I'm starting here because I want to start one place at a time. And eventually, yes, I will build out. All of these will be going on my YouTube channel as well. Everything that I do live. Okay, guys? So enjoy the rest of your week. Take all these nuggets, impart them in your life and everybody else's life, you know. And I'll see you next week, Monday, on The Balanced Woman. Talk soon. Have a great week.